Hello everybody, welcome to the special week in Marvel Avengers Alliance. Behind me, I've got Fountain of Youth. Let me tell you, once the bitches get a fountain, fountains get the bitches. So, this is going to be a special week in Marvel Avengers Alliance. Not at my normal place where I would be filming this, and of course, computer footage and the soundtrack and everything. So today I'm going to be doing it more lifestyle because I'm actually out at the beach, and we're going to go ahead and call this week's episode Moon over America. And there is a reason why we're going to call it that. Obviously, as you may imagine, it's going to be Moondragon and Knight America for this particular week that we're going to talk about. And American Knight, or Moon Knight, obviously is not going to work. That's a character. American Moon honestly sounds like a porn film starring an ass the size of a Cardassian ass, so that's not going to work. And that's why I decided to settle over Moon over America. Kind of sounds like a Denny's breakfast or something like that, but hey, it's the best thing that we're going to do. So, as you all know, probably the average player this week in Marvel Avengers Alliance is going to have recruited Moondragon. The task for me popped up Tuesday, or I think it was Tuesday of the week. But basically, like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning when the dailies reset, in farming Jotunballs, I'm like, ooh, we probably got a new daily, let me refresh. And as soon as I did, a new task popped up, and it happened to say recruit Moondragon. And I was like, yeah, I know, that's the whole point. But actually the reason why it was saying that is because the game was smart, and it knew that when I did that daily, which was actually the 4-drop, that I was going to have Moondragon. So it was basically telling me, yeah, you're going to get her today, just go do the daily. So the majority of us, without any extra work, got Moondragon at least a couple days ago. If you missed a few days, you probably caught up by now, so really everybody should have Moondragon unless they missed a few days. As for Knight America, that's a different story. It all depends on how you farm the dailies, or if you bought him early. A lot of people were kind of jumping on his bandwagon super fast. They were hearing the damage that he was doing, even at level 1. And a lot of people, like friend of the channel Doug, was like, yeah, I'm getting this while the getting's good, so I'm grabbing him right now. Now, the reason why he's not called American Knight is actually because apparently American Knight is a rank within the Ku Klux Klan. So, pretty sure Marvel and Playdom are not going to be sitting there trying to force the white agenda on people through a hero in a game. Now, believe it or not, there actually was, in the Marvel Universe, somebody who would fit that bill. And it was a villain. And it was called Hatemonger. So Hatemonger back in the day, and I don't really know... Okay, so he's tied to the Fantastic Four universe. I was curious if he was tied to the MCU or the mutant side, but he's part of Fantastic Four's universe, which means Fox. There's no way you could deal with even this person as a villain nowadays in today's society, but he was Hatemonger. And the first Hatemonger was actually a clone of Adolf Hitler. And his outfit kind of looked a lot like if Hobgoblin was meshed with a purple KKK outfit was meshed with Halloween. So clearly, American Knight was not going to work because I don't think a white power superhero is going to go over well. Thanks for saving my kitten, American Knight. Oh, you're welcome, little Timmy. Remember, white power up and away, so that wasn't going to work. So that's how he became Knight America. Moondragon, we're going to go ahead and deal with first. So Moondragon we probably got a few days ago, like we said, if we were doing the task every day and keeping up with the core pieces. And she is pretty cool. One of the things that leapt off the page at me when I was looking at Moondragon was the fact that she's going to go really well with Cloak and Dagger and actually fix Cloak and Dagger's biggest weakness. here's what I mean by that. So Moondragon, as we know, comes in as an infiltrator. And she has that mental perception passive. Has a chance to grant allies an action that cannot be interrupted before Moondragon takes an action. This applies to allies, and where this is best, especially for Cloak and Dagger, is the deb. The little deb. Why this is so good is because one of Cloak and Dagger's biggest and almost highly necessary setups is her level 2. Well, the deb works against that. And yes, it is still working against that this season. I had an agent up, went to do the level 2, didn't even check the agent because it was much lower than me. Sure enough, the deb stopped it. Moondragon's passive will enable Cloak and Dagger, if it's functioning correctly, to walk right past the deb and get her level 2 out without an issue. Now, I think where that's going to be the best is clearly the new Tactician suit with the draining. The problem is that she... Well, alright. Moondragon does have one debuff move. So you could attach... Vampiric to that. Vampiric ISO. That will allow her debuff to drain. And we do know, of course, that Cloak and Dagger has got it on Blackout, which is tagged as a debuff. And then that's it. So Cloak and Dagger and Moondragon each have a debuff category that you could slot that Vampiric ISO for debuffs, drain health, drain stamina, restore it to them, and being infiltrators, you're probably going to need it, and couple that with the new Tactician suit and a bunch of debuffs like the free action Doombringer and a few other items that the agent can use. You can make a powerful debuff team that would be unstoppable, basically. So, the other good thing is you can kind of mesh both a debuff meta and a psychic meta all together with Cloak and Dagger, with Moondragon, and the new suit, and some of the new psychic set like the Psych Operator and the Staff of Agony. And, I mean, right now, that's just kind of hitting all the cylinders at that point. That's a drain and psychic. To be honest, I really expected a lot of people to be protecting against a psychic meta, but so far, as of about the 1400 border, for me, in Vibranium, I'm not seeing a lot of... Yeah, 1428 is where I am so far. I'm not seeing a lot of defensive teams really trying to protect against the psychic meta. I'm not running into a lot of TOEs. I am running into some agents that are trying to set up a debuff meta on defense and a psychic meta on defense. But unless there's a higher threat, that's who I suicide into. So I'm still running the suicide offense. They lost once due to a CVE forced refresh. That was because my Cloak and Dagger took out the 2 remaining people with her level 6. One of them got popped for 53k, which was huge. The game went nope and CVE'd me, and I got a loss on it. I did get one legitimate loss so far. So this season I can't say I'm undefeated anymore. I do have a legit loss there. My biggest counter is still a bunch of intangible ISOs. If multiple high threats on defense have the intangible ISO, meaning my suicide is at risk, not much I can do. But right now, my highest threats are Scootum, so that my Spitfire can do a lot of damage and not get drained, and the agent if they're running the psychic set. The last thing I want is a Psych Operator wiping everything out for me. So Knight America is our next topic after Moondragon, and we all know that Moondragon is going to go extremely well with the psychic meta, and she'll do okay in a debuff meta. Now, when it comes to Knight America and Moondragon, I was a little hesitant to get them so close together, but it was kind of forced on me here. I had like 2 Joltin' Balls left, and I was producing a lot during that daily, so I said, what the hell. Got him, recruited Knight America just about a day after Moondragon, and I kind of didn't want 4 people that it was all focused on training on at the same time, because I was training Mantis to 15 because she works very well with close quarters combat. And Richard Rider because he's Blaster, which is a big PvP bonus. And, you know, it opened up my blasters to be incomplete when he came along. So the good thing is Mantis is now 15 for me, so she's out of the picture, which leaves me with good old adult Dick Rider at 3,000 out of 18 for him. So he's more than 3 sims away. And now I've got Moondragon and Knight America to deal with. For Knight America, a lot of people are quite impressed with his damage. Sword of Liberty alone is dealing a lot of damage. I've got him at level 3. His repost counter, that parry counter, is pretty cool. And he's dishing out a lot of damage. Now, what a lot of people are trying to do is feed him Rally so that he can use his buffs appropriately. You don't have to force feed Rally so much. You can still do other things that are like Rally. So Rally basically comes from a half-dead Groot, Captain Marvel's chapter suit, and it also comes from the Mark of the Brotherhood if you're running mutants. Well, clearly a Captain America derivative, no matter what universe, isn't going to be a mutant, so that's not an option. You're pretty much stuck with Captain Marvel, who goes pretty well with Knight America, and Richard Rider, believe it or not, or Half-Dead Groot. You don't want to bank on Half-Dead Groot, so it leaves you with basically Captain Marvel. I think I was saying Captain America. Captain Marvel. Well, you don't have to feed Rally. Lead the Charge is just as good. Obviously, Rally and Lead the Charge together would be great, because then it would be 3 actions. You could go buff, action, buff, or buff, buff, and then action. That's really hard to pull off, but Lead the Charge is more commonplace. We're going to get that off the Shepherd Staff. We're going to get that off other heroes like Richard Rider, like Captain Marvel, like Angel. Let's not forget about him. There are people who can do it, so you may want to look into the extra turn scenario rather than Rally. Because, you know, for the most part, it's going to do the same thing. Now, the good thing is, with Knight America, he counts as a even though he's a scrapper trader, he's going to count as a scrapper for his ISOs, which I think people are going to universally consider better. He's not going to have access to the pre-counter ISO, but he will have access to the I Can't Be Winded, and you can give him the melee equals attack power ISO because his 2 non-buffs are melee. Even though Shield of Freedom says range, it's ranged and melee and vibranium. So he is going to have access to some good E ISOs, which is pretty cool. For Sword of Liberty, it's hard to say what ISOs are going to work best over there. You don't need to worry about the Vibranium A ISO because it already is Vibranium. He will be able to use things like Mauling, which sets up Flanked, which is pretty nice. I mean, he's going to be doing Flanked stuff anyway at 15, but prior to 15, you could do it, and he sets up Mauling for other people. He has the Slashing Vampiric one. He has Vorpal, which allows him to ignore defense, which will do a bucket of damage. You've got Knocking, you've got Pulverizing, and you've got a bunch of others there. For the shield, with it being ranged, you have things like Shield Breaker. You can do Hemorrhaging, which we know is broken, and it allows itself to be tagged to a whole lot of things that it shouldn't be. Aiming, Bursting, and also Mauling again. And Actuating if you wanted to run it with a charged meta. So don't just try to shoehorn in Rally for Knight America. Think about Lead the Charge to kind of be a decent stand-in. In other news, in Marvel Avengers Alliance-Moon, people of course got their Black Panther reward. Can't say I've heard whether or not people like him. I didn't get him. But I did get Captain 1901, Steampunk Captain over there. Pretty much on schedule. Don't forget there is a lot of tricks for those tasks. The Hydra enemies, I mean, they're all over. You're probably just going to stumble and fall into Hydra enemies in Scouting, in Spec Ops, specific Hydra chapters. Team up with enemy, or team up with friends, you're going to do that anyway when you're going through chapters. Just make sure they're teammates and not recommended people. PvP, that task, do it as practice. Practice has no resource. You don't consume PvP resources when you're doing practice, so you could just, as long as you have real life time to do it, you could do the 40 or the 20, whatever was needed, 28, in one sitting. Especially now with autoplay, you could sit there and cook dinner, turn on autoplay, hit PvP, and like stir macaroni while the game is running PvP for you. And if you lose, no big deal. You didn't lose resource. You just lost real life time. Forgetting the other task right now. It was defeat Hydra, team up with people, do PvP. But anyway, yeah, I have him. He still reminds me of Gaslight characters from the DC universe. I've not used him in active combat yet, but he's been on reserves and he's been gaining experience along the way. And like I said, believe it or not, on the first day, one of my allies had him and had him at 30. He looks really cool. I like the whole resource mechanic with him, with pressure, and basically all of his moves build up pressure, and then when he gets to 100, he can only use a dump move, which dumps it all out, usually for high power, and then he starts again. PvP's going on there, and it's a little bit better. Of course, it's the Deathblock season, and I'm kind of getting tired of Deathblock. He's everywhere. He's in MFF. He's in Marvel Avengers Alliance-Moon is a semi-recent acquisition. It's like, can we get new people already instead of constantly dealing with Deathblock all over? But yeah, that season's going a little bit better. There are still those matches where somebody gets taken out from one hit, but at least the actual PvP season's doing better. In practice, I was on a 16-win streak doing practice for the Captain America task over there. So practice, I was at 30, and now that Wasp is 30 for me, and 3 stars, I just rolled over everybody in practice. And Wasp is doing a better job now in PvP, that she is 30 and 3 stars, and my Hawkeye is going to be next. So, that is pretty much it for the week in Marvel Avengers Alliance here, the Fountain of Youth. If you got any change, throw it in there and make a wish. Maybe you'll get Knight America, or enough Solstice balls to get Knight America on time. But it's really looking like people should get him, and get him as soon as possible. I don't know how easy it's going to be to shoehorn him in the current meta, but at least at 15, you can make him stealthy and don't have to worry about getting tanked. PvP is rolling along, nothing too special there for me. I haven't had any real super hard fights that came down to like an oh my god, it's, you know, me or them. But Kurth is still double draining. If you've got Kurth with Scudam, you know, she heals once, but she's still doing the double drain, so take her out as best you possibly can. So, alright everybody, there is the week in Marvel Avengers Alliance. For the rest of the week, not too sure what videos I'll be putting up in the channel. Looking to still do some Legion videos, and Gigantic might be coming back for another stress test weekend. I have to check that out. So, hope you guys enjoyed this special episode. Take care everybody.